Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Durrett's Take. There's a lot of basketball I want to talk about today. So let's start off with some trade rumors that went on starting at the end of last week. That Bradley Beal is being but could potentially be shipped, and the Nets are trying to get him to come to Brooklyn so that way they can have the big three. So this would be very interesting if the Nets can pull this off and get Bradley Beal to Brooklyn. In my opinion, that wouldn't make them instant um, favorites to win the top per se, because I mean the Clippers are still low and stuff like that. But they're definitely not automatic favorites to come out of the East for the foreseeable future if that were to happen. So something that this got me thinking is to come up with um, a big three list, because ever since the beginning of the decade, big threes have become a big popular thing now. So I went ahead and came up with my top 10 list for big threes over this past decade. So I want to start with the first big three, and that's KD, Steph, and Clay. I feel like there's no argument here. They went to three finals in a row together and won back to back. They were unstoppable. I mean, they almost slipped up against Houston that one series, but other than that, once they got KD, they were just unstoppables, and especially in the playoffs. So that's number one. Number two is one that actually did not win a championship, but the talent level is just so much that if they would have stayed together a little bit long, they could have won something, and that was KD, Westbrook, and Harden. Like I said, I feel like they could have won a championship if they would have stuck together, but they got blown up a little bit too early. But the talent, like, there's three MVPs on that team right there. That would have been super exciting for Oklahoma City if they would have stayed together. Number three is the one that could happen in the KD, Kyrie, and Bradley Beal. I think you could technically place them second if you want, because KD, Kyrie, and Bradley Beal will most likely win a championship, unlike KD, Westbrook, Harden weren't able to. So I can understand if you want to float it there, but I feel like again this team would be they'd be like the LeBron big three of the Heat basically. Back when he was there, they would just win the East every single year. Four. Speaking of Heat big threes, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. They won two titles together, went to four in a row. Once they got to, I mean, in the championship game they were unstoppable, but once they, but anything before that, they were pretty much unstoppable in getting there. And then five, this one maybe a little bit underrated, is the Duncan Parker Ginobili. Now I know all three of them were out of their primes by this point, but they were able to go to back-to-back finals, and they were able to defeat LeBron once in the finals, and not just defeat, they actually won that series pretty easily. So, and they could have won too if it wasn't for Ray Allen's clutch shot. So, Duncan Parker, Ginobili, even though they're past their primes and they did get a little bit of help from a young Kawhi, like they performed really well. Number six is LeBron, Kyrie, Love. They brought a championship to Cleveland for the first time ever, especially against a 73-win Warrior team that year. So enough said there. And then seven, speaking of 73 Warrior team, now I have Steph, Clay, and Draymond. They went to two finals in a row, won one. They were they're a pretty good team. I still feel like if LeBron was fully crewed, they wouldn't have won the finals. But again, with all that shooting and playmaking, they definitely have the talent. Number eight, now this one may surprise you, but it's Nowitzki, Jason Terry, and Jason Kidd. You have to think about it. I've already explained in the past videos a couple weeks ago, like why I feel like the Mavericks were the best underdog to ever win a championship. So I don't really need to explain much here, besides talent. But they beat LeBron and his big three, so they deserve to be on this list. Number nine is Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, and Ron Artest, or Metta World Peace. But I said decade, and this team won in 2010, so they're technically a part of this decade, and they were still good in 2011 before they got upset by the Mavericks, and then they started to fall out of control. But when those three were together, they're really good. They went to finals back in 2009 and won that one, so they were basically back-to-back champions when they won in 2010. So again, really good team there with one of the best players ever to play the game, Kobe Bryant. And then the last one, there's a bunch of different options you can go with here. I had a tough time deciding this one, but I'm going to go with one that actually won a championship. And that's Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, and Pascal Siakam. That big three was pretty awesome because they won a championship against Steph and Draymond Green, and at least Andre Iguodala, the third member of the team. Even though KD was out and Clay was off and on throughout that series being out, I mean, you still have to play the game, you still have to do your part, and they were able to win a championship for Toronto for their first one ever, and they're probably never going to win one again. So that was pretty amazing. So again, so that's my top 10 big three list. So again, to repeat it, KD, Steph, Clay, 1. KD, Westbrook, Harden, 2. KD, Kyrie, Bradley, Beal, 3. It's pretty interesting how KD's in all three of those. LeBron, Wade, Bosh, 4. Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, 5. LeBron, Kyrie, Love, 6. Steph, Clay, Draymond, 7. Nowitzki, Terry, Kidd, 8. Brian Gasol, Artest, 9. And Kawhi, Lowry, and Pascal Siakam, 10. So if you like my list, let me know. If you think there's a team that deserves to be on the top 10 list, let me know, because there's definitely a couple that deserved it. So now going on, there's another format that the NBA is considering. I didn't talk about this yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it today. So the format that the NBA is considering is doing a soccer-style format. So what this means is that they would have 4 groups, Group A, B, C, D, and they would have the top 20 teams participate. So you have 5 teams in each group. And what you do is you play each team twice, and then whoever places first or second in that group will go on to the next round, like in soccer. So this would be pretty interesting. So Group A, they have the Bucks, the Jazz, the 76ers, the Grizzlies, and the Blazers. Group B, they have the Lakers, Heat, Rockets, Magic, and Pelicans, and that, in my opinion, that's the toughest group right there. Group C, they have Raptors, Celtics, Thunder, Mavericks, and Spurs. And then Group D, they have Clippers, Nuggets, Pacers, Nets, and Kings. So that would be pretty fun right there. In my opinion, I'm all for this. And if you're deciding whether you are for this or not, or you're probably leaning towards no, let me give you a couple reasons why you should consider being on board with this idea and liking it. And this is assuming if the 16 seed format can't happen, because I would actually like to see that one as well, because that one is actually more basketball related than copying something from a completely different sport. But oh well. So here's a couple questions you got to ask. So would you rather see a 7-game series of LeBron and the Lakers versus the Grizzlies? Or would you rather see a 2-game series of LeBron versus the Heat, LeBron versus the Rockets, LeBron versus Zion and the Pelicans? In my opinion, I feel like you'd rather see that series. I would rather have that series. Also, another reason why the underdogs in this case have a chance, because besides the teams Blazers, Pelicans, Spurs, Kings, besides them getting into this versus a normal playoffs where they win it, it sets up nice for underdogs to come on top. Like, for example, Group C, Raptors, Celtics, Thunder, Mavericks, Spurs. Well, in the normal series, the Mavericks would have to face the Clippers in the 7-game series, and we all know how that one's probably going to end. But in this one, it's like Mavericks can easily get second place in this group, and they can move on to the next round versus the other scenarios where they wouldn't have that chance. Also, if you go to Group A, Bucks, Jazz, 76ers, Grizzlies, Blazers. Obviously, Bucks would be the one team that's passed. But then as far as the second place goes, again, 76ers, we're not sure about Simmons, and B+, I don't trust their head coach. They haven't done well in the playoffs. So that leaves the Jazz, but again, they don't have Bogdanovich. So it leaves Blazers with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and it leaves them a chance for a team that wouldn't have made the playoffs for them to actually be that second place in Group A and then be able to advance to the playoffs. So it'd just be fun to see, and in my opinion, I feel like it's a really good option. Again, like I said earlier, I'm fine with the 16 seed format like college basketball if they decide to go with that. But one thing that the NBA, remember, needs to consider in general is that change is a part of life. We didn't have technology, now we do. We didn't have this in the NFL game, but now we move the extra points back, type of thing. Like, things keep on changing, rules keep on changing. And if we don't change, if we're stuck in all the ways, then we're going to miss out on a lot. And we're not going to be the best business that we can be. So if the NBA wants to become the best business and wants to get viewers to the TV like they didn't do that often per se in the regular season, then they need to do change, whether that's this or the 16 seed format or some other type of format that they're considering. They just need to change something up. And then if it works out, great, they can continue to do it for a while. But if not, well, this season was already considered unique and asterisk anyways. So then you can just go back to a normal 7-game series the next year at the playoffs. But we need to crown a champion an NBA champion, whether it's the Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, or whatever. We need to crown a champion. We need to have basketball back. We need to have sports back in general. Therefore, I would like to see them make some of these changes and to make it more interesting and make it more fun. So that's it for this week. I hope you all have a great weekend and look forward to talking to you all next week. Thank you very much.